you start that?
Yeah, please.
Anatomy for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll start that chapter only. So in the previous class, we had discussed about the various parts of the brain in which I think we have discussed everything, right? The midbrain, the hindbrain. Then we've discussed the various areas of the brain, right? So let us give it a run through. So the whole entire brain has been divided into three major regions. There's forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Now, when we talk about the forebrain, it contains the cerebrum, it contains the thalamus, and it contains the hypothalamus, right? Then further, there's the midbrain, which has various, you can say, it's like a connecting region between the forebrain and the hindbrain. And then we have the hindbrain, which is, Acha, one more thing. In the midbrain, there is also four swollen lobes called as corpora quadrigemina. Then we have the hindbrain, which consists of the pons, medulla, and the cerebellum. These pons and medulla together, they form the brain stem. Also, in the inner parts of the forebrain, there are two more structures which we call as amygdala and hippocampus. They together form the limbic lobe or the limbic system, right? And they're responsible for various other emotional reactions that we go through, the sexual behavior, the excitement, pleasure, happiness, all of those things are concerned with the limbic lobe or the limbic system. Is it clear to everyone? Achha, we had two lines that were left. Midbrain and hindbrain, they together form the brain stem. It is the posterior part of the brain that ultimately continues with the spinal cord, right? It ends and it like the ending of the brain stem and the beginning of the spinal cord is there. Now, out of the 12 pairs of cranial nerves, 10 pairs come from the brain stem. Now, see, presence of 12 pairs of cranial nerves is a characteristic feature of vertebrates. We have 12 pairs of cranial nerves. Is it clear to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes. So that's all you need to know from this chapter, and we are basically through with this chapter, that is neural control and coordination. So now we'll directly jump from the animal world to the plants. Now bear with me. You people show your interest all along. Okay. This is a nice chapter if you pay attention. Okay,
It's not a
so
nice
now
chapter.
it's not a nice chapter. Don't spoil it
It's
for
not.
others. Don't spoil. Everyone, no. We'll think that it is a nice chapter. If we think that it is a nice chapter, then it will be a nice chapter. We'll make it a nice chapter. So, you people have studied the most dreaded chapter, Morphology of Flowering Plants, wherein you people have a bucket load of examples to learn, right? In this chapter, you won't have a load of examples, but you'll have other technicalities that you have to pay attention to. So we've seen the external structure of the plant. Now today we're going to start with the internal structure of the plant, which we call as the anatomy. Right? Internal structure, the structure of the cell, the structure of the tissues associated. We're going to see that. So, everyone knows that a group of cells, when they come together and they get assigned with a specific work that they're supposed to, so we call that as a tissue, right? And the tissues in the plant, there are tissue systems present. There are three major tissue systems present in plant. Epidermal tissue system, ground tissue system, vascular tissue system. Now, you have to understand every word in order to understand the topic. So, epidermal tissue system. What is epidermis? Epidermis is the outermost layer of anyone's body, whether it is humans, whether it is plants, whether it is anyone. Epi means on or outside. Dermis or derma means a layer, right? So epidermal tissue system tells you about the layers of tissues or cells that are going to be found from the outside to the inside. That is what we're concerned with the epidermal tissue system. Second, we have the ground tissue system. Now, ground tissue, if you people see ground tissue, it's like the main tissue, the bulk tissue that the plant is made up of. Imagine it like that. The ground tissue is like the main, like imagine it like the bricks and cements of the plant. Okay, bricks and cements like that. It's the core of the plant tissue. And then the pipeline is like a house has a pipeline, right? The water pipeline, the gas pipeline. So that is your vascular system of the plant or conducting system, which will be responsible for the transportation of food and the transportation of water and minerals. Clear?
Yeah.
So when we
Yeah,
talk
ma'am.
about when we talk about the tissue system, the first one that we have to discuss is the epidermal tissue system. Now, this is the tissue system which is responsible for forming the epidermis, right? The outer layer of the plant's body. And what is it made up of? Like, for example, if you think about us only, like how our tissue system, if we think about this area, the skin area, so we call it as the epithelium is there, right? Squamous epithelium, stratified epithelium. On top of that, we have hair that comes from some sort of follicle, right? So that is our tissue system. Now, beneath that, we have areolar tissue, we have adipose tissue, isn't it? For insulation. Then we have fluid connective tissue. Various tissues are there, and it's all in an integration or in a very compact system. Same way, in the epidermal tissue system, you're going to find those as well. You're going to find the epidermal cells, which will be responsible for the formation of epidermis. Then, just like how you people notice that your skins have pores, same way plants also have pores, right? It's very minute. Like when you take a shower, you can visibly see your pores. So those pores, in the case of plants, they have a fancier name. They call it as stomata. They have fancier function also. Then, just like how we have hair on our skin, same way plants also have hair, which we call as epidermal appendage. What is the meaning of appendage, students? Appendage.
Protrusion.
Something that is coming out of something, right? The thing that is coming out. It could be anything like hair. It could be anything like root hair. Okay, like stem hair, all of that. So now epidermis is the outermost layer of the plant body, and it is made up of elongated, compactly arranged cell which forms a continuous layer. So like this. Compactly arranged and uniform cells are there that are forming a layer. Now, epidermis is usually single layered because it's a very thin layer. The cells of the epidermis, they are parenchymatous. What is, so you people remember parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma? Plant tissue, a quick rundown will do. Okay, a quick rundown, very quick. Plant tissues are divided into two types, right? This is from class 9th, I believe. You people remember this? The plant tissue, the first type is meristematic. Okay. The second type is permanent. Okay. Meristematic tissues are those that have the capability of dividing all their lives. So they are living tissues that keep on dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing. Okay. So we call them as meristematic. Further, meristematic tissue on the basis of where they are found, it's of three types. Apical meristem, if they are found on the apex or the tip portion of any plant part. Then we have intercalary,
Lateral.
which is found
Last.
lateral meristem, which is found on the sideways. So these three are the meristematic tissues of the plant. They are always dividing. Apical meristem is responsible for the increase in the length of the plant. Intercalary is also responsible for increase in the length. And lateral meristem is the increase in the girth, thickness of the plant. Okay. Then the permanent tissues are the ones that have lost the capability of division. They cannot divide anymore. Further, they are of two types, depending upon what they are made up of. So they are simple permanent and complex permanent. Okay. Simple permanent and complex permanent, the basic difference amongst them is this. Now you people only tell me.
In simple Well, permanent plant tissues, only one type of cells are present, while in complex, different type of cells are present.
So one and situation, the box number 1 and the box number 2. You see how the box number 1 is made up of same type of shapes, circle, circle, circle all around. Second, you have different shapes present. So this is the basic difference between simple permanent and complex permanent. That simple permanent is made up of one type of cells, whereas complex permanent is made up of different types of cells. So simple permanent is of three types: parenchyma, which is the living tissue of the plant. Then there's collenchyma, which is again living tissue with a little bit of hardening. And then there is sclerenchyma, which is dead. Dead doesn't mean that it is not useful. It is useful only in supporting and all of that. So that is the three. And the complex permanent tissue, there are two types: xylem and phloem, which are collectively called as your conducting tissues. These are the vascular tissues. Clear? The basic plant tissue types is clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Now, let us see here. The epidermis that we're talking about, they are made up of parenchyma. Parenchyma means living cells. Okay, these cells are going to have a lot of cytoplasm. They're going to have a large vacuole present so as to store food, because you know that they are not dividing anymore. A thick and waxy cuticle is present outside the epidermis. Now, if you people might have touched a leaf surface, you might feel that the upper side of the leaf surface is very shiny and smooth. It's very silky, but the lower surface is rough. Have you people noticed that?
Yeah.
So the upper surface is shiny and it's slippery because it has a thick and a waxy cuticle present on it. It's like a waxy layer. Why is it there? It's there so that not excessive loss of water would take place from the leaf surface or from the epidermal area. Okay. It does not allow the water to go out. And these cuticles, they are absent in the roots, because roots to have the function to absorb water only. If they have a covering of cuticle, they'll never be able to absorb water because nothing can come in. So roots do not have cuticles. Every other part of the plant has cuticles present. Now, the epidermis of the leaf, it has the pores, which we call as the stomata. Now, in the case of plants, the gaseous exchange, right, the taking in of O2, CO2, giving out of O2, it takes place via stomatal pore. Now, the stomatal pore is not just like that. The stomatal pore is surrounded by two dumbbell-shaped cells called as the guard cells. What are they responsible for? They are responsible for opening and closing of the stomata. Now, for example, if these two hands are the guard cells, so it's like this. If the stomata is closed. Now, the guard cells, they absorb water and they become turgid. Turgid means thick, fat. Okay. When they become turgid, they get swollen up and they open the stomatal pore like this. And then gaseous exchange and everything will take place. When the guard cells lose the water, they become flaccid. Flaccid means thin. Opposite of swollen is flaccid. So now they lose the water. Huh?
They shrink, right?
They shrink. Becoming flaccid is shrinking. Yes, that's the right word. So they'll shrink, they'll lose the water, and they'll close back the stomatal pore. So this opening and closing of the stomatal pore is regulated by the guard cells, okay, that surround the stomatal pore. Outside to the guard cells, there are extra cells present, which are called as subsidiary cells. Clear? And together, the subsidiary cells, the stomatal pore, and the guard cells, this is called as the stomatal apparatus. Clear?
And the guard cells are dumbbell shape.
Dumbbell shape.
But
Is
in
it
then
like
will it
V
never kidney
shape?
shape, right?
It's
Kidney
V
shape also, dumbbell
dumbbell.
shape also. See, kidney shape in most of the organisms, then dumbbell shape particularly in monocots. Okay? Monocots, you people remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Single cotyledon.
Single particle. So that's the case. Now, the guard cells of the grasses, such as the monocots, they have dumbbell shape. Now, the outer wall of the guard cells, they are usually thin and the inner wall is thick. Now, chloroplast containing cells are also present in the guard cell. You know, chloroplasts, they contain the chlorophyll, right? And those are also abundant in the guard cells. Now, the function of the guard cell is to regulate the opening and closing of the stomatal aperture or the stomatal pore. Then, other cells outside, we call it as the subsidiary cells, and together they are called as the stomatal apparatus. This much is clear, na?
Yeah, ma'am.
Now, what happens, Anna? You're not well?
No, ma'am. I am.
Sleepy? Eh?
Yeah, bit.
You don't have decency for the chapter, at least have decency for me. I know that you people hate the chapter, but please don't hate me. Okay. So the cells of the epidermis, now they are going to contain a lot of hair and the root epidermis. If we are talking in terms of the root, so the epidermis of the root, they contain unicellular root hair. Okay. Remember, always remember, this is very important, that the root hair, they are unicellular in nature. Okay. They are made up of single cell. And I have written hairs purposely because we can count them. It's not uncountable. Okay. So these root hair, they are the elongation of the epidermal cells. So those epidermal cells, they only elongate and form the root hair. And the root hair is responsible for absorbing more water and more minerals from the soil. On the other hand, if we are talking about the stem epidermis, so stem epidermis, they also have stem hair, which they have gotten a nice name for it, which is trichomes. And they are multicellular. So remember, root hair unicellular, stem hair multicellular. Okay. Now these trichomes that we're talking about, the stem hair that we're talking about, it could be branched or it could be unbranched. It could be solid, it could be stiff. The nature can vary depending upon the plant. Sometimes the trichomes are even secretory in nature. Secretory means they'll secrete some substances, maybe some sort of bacteria attracting chemicals, maybe some sort of bacteria resisting chemicals. Those kind of chemicals can be secreted by the this thing, trichomes. Clear? Also, they're not evidently like hair. If you people might have plugged the plant or seen a plant or paid enough attention to the botany around you, you might have seen that the stem has tiny, tiny fuzz-like structure on it. Like it feels like you're touching a lot of, like when people have had their hair shed off and the new hair that comes out, it looks very rough. That kind of a structure you might find on the stems of the plant. So that's nothing but the trichome. Clear? So this is all there is to know as far as the epidermal tissue system of plant is concerned. The next tissue system, any doubts? Yes, anyone saying
Ma'am,
something?
can you explain the difference between unicellular root hair and multicellular? Like,
Unicellular root hair, unicellular in nature means that they are made up of a single cell. That's all. They do not have several cells in them. One cell making them. But stem hair, which is the trichome, they are multicellular, meaning they are made up of multiple cells. When several cells are aggregating, then trichome is being formed. When only one cell is elongating, and that is your root hair. Yeah.
isn't that the unicellular is not visible or it's visible also?
The hair is visible. You just have to know that its origin is unicellular. You can't see the cell
Okay.
like that. Origin is unicellular. Okay.
Okay. Got
This
it.
multicellular unicellular is origin.
Got it. Thank you.
So this was the epidermal tissue system. Now the next tissue system we have is the ground tissue system. You people want to write a bit? Or shall I continue?
Continue.
You can continue.
Okay. Ground tissue system. Now ground tissue system is like every kind of tissue that the plant is made up of, except for the epidermis and obviously the vascular, right? The ground tissue system is particularly having the simple permanent tissues, the parenchyma, the collenchyma, and the sclerenchyma. Okay. Now, amongst all of them, the parenchyma is the living tissue, which is responsible for the storage purpose. Every kind of storage, like storage of extra food, storage of any kind of secondary metabolite, that is the function of parenchyma, storage. It is living in nature and its function is to store stuff. Okay. Second, we have collenchyma. This is also living component. And then we have the sclerenchyma. Now, sclerenchyma can either be living, but mostly it's dead. And here we are talking about living dead. What is the meaning of living dead? The living or the dead is decided by the protoplasm. If a cell has the protoplasm present, then we call it as living. If it doesn't have the protoplasm present, we call it as dead. In animals' case, if a cell is dead, it's useless. But in plants' case, if a cell is dead, it's not useless. It is useful for other purpose. Okay. Now see, the parenchyma is made up of cellulose. The collenchyma is made up of cellulose, plus it has pectin. So if, for example, if this is a cell of the plant, okay. Now when we talk about, if we are talking or locating the collenchyma, so the collenchyma is going to have irregular thickenings like this. Okay, it will be thickened in some areas, thicker than the normal. So this thickening is present because of pectin. Okay, thickenings, pectin, thickenings. So it is thicker than the parenchyma. Clear? Now, when we have the sclerenchyma, so it is made up of cellulose and lignin. If you people remember that lignin is a very resistant and a very tough substance. Okay, Zainab, wake up. It is lignin is a very tough substance. Clear? And in the case of sclerenchyma, protoplasm is absent. Understood?
Yeah, ma'am.
You people are following me? Zainab, are you following me?
Yes.
Are you here?
Yeah.
Or your body is here, your mind is elsewhere? Eh? Dreamland? Is it? No, no. What is my name, Zainab?
Maria, ma'am. It's written there.
It's written there. Okay, what color hijab am I wearing, Zainab?
Green.
Eh?
Ma'am, I'm not colorblind. Green.
Acha. Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Don't sleep. So now, parenchymatous cells, they are usually present in the cortex area of the plant, in the pericycle area of the plant, in the pith and the medullary rays. Now the question comes along, what are these things? Now for this, I'd have to check your NCERT PDF whether or not they have removed this, because I don't remember. Check.
It's there, ma'am.
It's there. Oh, see. We'll see. Let's see. When we talk about the cortex, the pericycle, these are areas that are found in the stem, that are found in the root. Okay. It's there. They've only written that part only. So, cortex, pericycle, pith, medullary rays. For now, you people understand it as it is. Okay, like these are certain regions that are found in the stem. Where is the stem? See. This is your root, dicot root. In the root, can you see cortex, endodermis, right? Pith is there, pericycle is there. These are certain cellular regions of any part of the plant, like either in the root or in the stem. Okay. For now, make peace with this. Okay. Because we'll come to it. We'll pass that bridge when we have it.
We have studied this in the other chapters, right? Like the other plant chapter that we had.
Did you? I
Yeah,
don't think
right.
so. If you would have studied this, then you wouldn't have been dreading this chapter. Trust me. If this had been in some other chapter, then you wouldn't have been dreading this chapter. No, it's not. It's in this chapter. So this is the case. The parenchymatous cells, they're mostly found in these areas of the stem and the roots, particularly the primary stem and the primary root. See, the first stem or the first root that will be formed for a plant will be called as a primary stem or root. And later on from them, like for example, if this is the plant, like soil, below that, this root is developing. This is your primary root. The root that is going to develop from here onwards, they will become secondary and tertiary and furthermore. Clear? That's the case. Now, ground tissue of the leaves, they are called as mesophyll cells. These mesophyll cells, they are thin-walled and they contain a lot of chloroplasts presently because this is the site where the photosynthesis takes place. So this was about ground tissue system. Earlier, it used to be a lot in this, but you people are very lucky. A lot of part has been cut down for you. If if I teach you the way I've been taught and I become determined to torture you people, then there would be a lot. Do you people want to be tortured a bit?
No.
Mom, I
No,
think this is enough.
that's enough. Anyway, but the way I studied, these parts that I have just written the names of the parts wherein these ground tissues are present. They used to be explained earlier. But okay, good. It's even my headache is come low because I don't have to explain that, and good for you people also. Then we come on to the last tissue system, that is your vascular tissue system. Now this is the conducting tissue system, which is responsible for conduction. Conduction means transportation of food, minerals, and water, right? The vascular tissue system is made up of the complex permanent tissues of the plant, that is xylem and phloem. Now in the dicot stem, one thing I'll tell you. All those plants or all those stem or parts of the plants that contain the vascular bundles, meaning xylem and phloem. If xylem and phloem are present in any region of the plant, we say that open type of vascular bundle is there. If xylem is also present, phloem is also present. But if xylem and phloem are absent, then we call it as the closed type of vascular bundle. Okay? Open and close are clear?
Yeah, Mom.
Okay. Also, one more thing, the open vascular system, one more thing is there. For example, if the xylem is there and the phloem is there, and in between the xylem and phloem, a tissue called as cambium is present between xylem and between the phloem. Then we ultimately call it as the open vascular system. Okay? And when the cambium is not present, we call it as the closed vascular system. Now remember, all of those plant parts that are going to have open vascular system, they are going to grow or they are going to go for the secondary growth. Secondary growth is the growth in terms of thickness. Okay? When the plant becomes all butch and strong and all of that, that is because of secondary growth. So all those plants that are going to go for the secondary growth, they are going to have open vascular system. Open vascular system means xylem and phloem are present. In between the xylem and phloem, cambium is found. Okay, cambium is a tissue.
Mom, what
In
does
the
cambium do?
monocots, secondary growth.
What does
It is responsible for the growth of the plants in terms of thickness. meaning the tree trunk formation, all of those things, they're made because of cambium division. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
In the monocots, the vascular bundles are called as closed because cambium is absent. Okay. Now, the vascular bundles are going to be called as radial, conjoint. Now, when is the vascular bundle called as radial? Radial vascular bundles are those that are arranged along different radii, meaning at different radius. You have like one circular portion is for one vascular bundle, then another, then another. So if it is present at a different radii, we call it as radial vascular bundles. Conjoint is when the xylem and, like, for example, the xylem and the phloem, they are present on the same radii, same radius. So we call it as the conjoint vascular bundles. Clear?
Ma'am, what do you mean by the same radii?
Right?
Radii meaning, for example, if this is the cell of the plant, and in that, if, for example, this is the xylem, okay, and this is the phloem. This is the xylem, this is the phloem. Then that is your xylem and phloem present on the same radius. Okay, radii is the plural of radius. Then, if this one layer has only the xylem, 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 xylem. Inside, you have only the phloem, phloem, phloem. So you have two different radii. So we call this kind as the radial vascular bundle. Understood?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you people note down. Then we'll move forward.
Ma'am, VB is
Also,
vascular bundle, right?
VB is vascular bundle. Okay, now you people note down. Then we'll talk more about the vascular bundle.
Ma'am,
You
can you
people
share
have,
the note of the previous chapter and the other
I
chapters?
will, because that's not completed. Neural control notes are not completed for you guys, right?
No,
I have to
ma'am, they're
share
not.
that
And I
anyway.
need the other chapters as well. I
All
still.
of them.
No, not all of them. Biomolecules, cell cycle, and photosynthesis.
Okay. Biomolecules, photosynthesis, and
Cell cycle.
cell cycle.
Yeah,
Acha, you weren't there for these chapters. Okay, I'll share these.
thank you, ma'am.
Apart from that, up until now, you people have understood everything.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
A little bit of hatred might have come down. I'm teaching so nicely.
Yes.
Even if you're saying this for making me happy, I'm happy. Okay, now you know
No,
that.
I'm saying it with full sincerity.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'm done.
Done, students? Everyone's done?
Yeah. Done. Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Everyone's done till here.
Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
Then students, shall I scroll?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm done.
Everyone's done till here?
Yes.
I'm done.
Done? Everyone's done till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
No.
Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
All right, students. So let's just keep it till here only. Today's class. Okay. We'll continue in the next class. Okay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Most
mom.
welcome, students. Good night, everyone.